Hello, Math 96. Happy December. Today's December 1st. Oops. So here's your agenda. Forgot the date. So we're going to do notes on solving systems of three variables, x, y, and z. So I need you to be on your note-taking guide, page 35, and the essential question, it's at the top there. How are linear systems with three variables solved? And by the end of, well, probably tomorrow, you should be able to say that I can use the process of elimination to solve for each variable, x, y, and z. And there's no homework for tonight. Okay. So I just wanted to go over this because I won't be seeing periods 1 and 5 today. So these are the answers to last night's questions. Remember, you need to answer in a complete sentence. So number 22 is the women's golf team are taking 19 of the 3 credit and 8 of the 4 credit courses. And number 23 is Valley College Center purchased 16 cases of regular paper and 11 cases of recycled paper. And remember, you can't just turn in homework with the answer. You do have a lot of work to do in order to show how you arrived to that answer. Please upload that paper to your digital workbook number 3. Okay, so I'm going to get started here with 2 dimensions. That's the XY coordinate plane. So we see we have a red dot here, just a point on the XY plane. That point is plotted at over 1 up 2, right? So we would locate that point at 1, 2. And we've talked a lot about how we could have 2 lines that cross at one point. That's what we were solving for. But I just want to show you here that this is the 2-dimensional plane. On the next slide is the 3-dimensional plane. And that's what a 3-dimensional plane looks like. We have X, Y, and Z. And there's different ways that those 3 planes could intersect or not intersect at all. And this is the one that we're going to be focused on, because these 3 planes, you can see that there's a green plane, a blue plane, and kind of a, I don't know, a dusty rose-colored pink plane. And those would be the X, Y, and Z. You can kind of think of it as the floor and 2 walls, right? So you could think of this as the floor and then 2 walls, right? And when those planes intersect, they intersect at one point, and we're going to be finding that point today. It's going to be X, Y, and then the Z coordinate. And then these other ones, you could also have it where your planes intersect at a common line, or you have 3 parallel planes, they never intersect, or planes intersect 2 at a time. So like I said, we're going to be dealing with this one where all 3 intersect at one common point. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is to know how this PowerPoint is going to work. So this top portion is just like your page 35, where it has all the steps. And then this bottom portion down here is where the bottom half of your notes and where we're going to do our work from. So what I wanted to show you here is that I can't just work off of this one piece right down here. It's too small for you to see. So my next slides are going to break up this part of the notes. So the next slide is only going to show these 2 boxes. So I'm going to start here and show you these 2 on the next slide. After that will be this next piece. After that will be this next piece. And then we'll go down and we'll work onto this box right here. And then we'll keep going and we'll work on this box, and then we'll finish up right here where the final answer is going to be. Okay, so that's going to be the movement of my slides. So that's how it'll work for the slides to advance. Okay, so the next one, you're going to see these 2 boxes, and we're going to talk about how to solve by elimination. Okay, so here's those 2 boxes. Remember, I told you this is what your page looks like. And we're working on these two boxes right there, okay? Okay, so you can see three equations. All three equations have x, y, and z. The first thing so that we can talk is we're going to just label them equation A, equation B, and equation C. So please label your three equations. And if you read your first step on your own notes there, it says step 1 is to pick 2. And if I read through those steps for you on your, let me just go back a page. If I read through these steps right here, there's kind of a little song that goes with it. So I'll keep saying that song. So it's pick 2, find new, pick 2, find new, new, eliminate, go back, back. So if you can kind of remember a song like that, it's helpful. So pick 2, find new, pick 2, find new, new, eliminate, go back, back. And if I were in the classroom, I'd have my cheerleading green and gold pom-poms out. Okay, so the first step is to pick 2 and find new. Pick 2, find new. All right, so what happened to my A, B, and C? So when we pick 2, we mean you need to pick 2 of the equations. So you could pick A and B, A and C, B and C, B and A. There's a lot of different combinations, right? So you could pick just the top 2, A and B. You could pick the bottom 2, B and C. You could pick the top one and the bottom one, A and C. So there's a lot of choices for you. So I'm going to make this very easy. Pay attention because this is the one thing that you need to know. Fill in your hidden ones anywhere they're at. And always choose an equation that has a plain hidden one. If possible, choose the plain hidden one that is positive. So I like this one right here, positive 1x. I like it better than this one, negative 1z. I don't want to choose negative 1 because that can pose some problems. So I'm going to be focused on the positive 1x. Now there's not another equation in here or another term in here that has a hidden positive 1, right? This is the only one. And so that's why it's an excellent choice. It'll make your math much easier. So what we're going to do is pick 2 equations now. And since the positive hidden one is on x, we're going to eliminate x. And you have to eliminate x on this step right here and on the next step. Okay, so we're going to fill in x on both of these. On your notes, make sure we put eliminate x on the first 2 steps. Okay, so since I've identified that C is a really good equation, I'm going to choose my first combination to be B and C. And the next one, so this one will be B and C. And the next one, we can't repeat. We have to have something new. We're going to use A and C. And C is good because it has a plain hidden 1. In other words, it's a positive 1. Okay? So we're going to eliminate x because it's attached to that hidden 1. Okay, and then we're going to choose for the first set to pick 2 equations, B and C. And I'm just repeating myself. And then the next one that we do on the next slide will be A and C. Okay? Okay, so I'm going to write down equations B and C. I can change colors here. So you're going to write down the equation. Take your time because if you make an error here, you're in trouble. And just a word of the wise, a Z, if you put a Z with this little line in it, your Z's will not turn into 2's. A lot of times Z's, your eye will pick up a 2. So if you write a Z with this little line, you're less apt to see it as the number 2. All right, and the next one is 1x 5y minus 1z equals -3. Okay, so that's the first step. Our first step was to fill in hidden ones on the problems, label them A, B, and C, and then choose to eliminate the letter that has a plain positive 1. And so we need to do that. We have to eliminate the x. So we are going to eliminate x now. And you already know how to do this because we've been doing it with the xy problems. Now we're just dealing with x, y, and z. So you ask yourself, what do you want? Remember, what do you want here so that you can eliminate x? I want a 3x positive, right? Because then it would eliminate with negative 3x in the top. So I have to multiply through a positive 3. That should be familiar with you because for the past 2 weeks we've been eliminating x and y. So now we're just doing the same work. We just have x, y, and z. Okay, so then you're going to go ahead and write down the first equation again. So that top one, -3x minus 2y plus 2z equals -5. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to distribute this 3 to every single item in the bottom row. And that'll be a positive 3x, a positive 15y, a negative 3z, equals 3 times 3 is -9. And then just so you know, if I were you, I would just go ahead because this is a lot of work product. I would just go through and I would just double check myself. 3 times 1, 3x, 15y, -3z, -9. I would just go back and double check my math really quick before I made an error here, so you don't have to go back and correct. Okay, so we're eliminating x. So -3x and positive 3x cancel. That was our whole goal. And so now we just up and down go ahead and add and subtract. So 15y's minus 2y's is 13y's. 2z minus 3z is -1z. And that's equal to -9 and -5 is -14. So what we just did is we eliminated x. And we just found a new equation. So remember what the little song is. Pick two, find new, pick two, find new. So that's why the song goes like that. So we want to write this new equation. This is our new equation. We want to write it right in the box that I filled in for you. That's important for later on. Don't drop a negative sign or anything, okay? All right, pick two, find new. We have to do it again. Pick two, find new, pick two, find new, new, eliminate. So we're getting there. Now remember, we eliminated x in this first time. Remember how we wrote it up here on your notes? You have to eliminate x again. Okay, so then we're going to move on. We're done with the first box. When we go to this next box, cha-ching, we're done here. When we go to this second box, we have to eliminate x again. And this time we're going to use equations A and C because we already used B and C. You can hit pause if you need a moment here. Okay, so now we're going to have to move on. This box is done. We found a new one. And we're going to go ahead. I should probably write that in here. 13y minus 1z negative 14. So we found this one, right? So 13y minus 1z equals negative 14. And we did that with B and C. Now we're going to do A and C. So we're over in this next box on your notes, okay? This time we have to use A and C. And we have to eliminate x, the same letter that we eliminated before. So A is going to be 2x, 4y, and we're just looking over here, right? 5z equals 7. And C is 1x. Remember, there's hidden ones there. You always want to fill those in. Plus 5y minus 1z equals -3. So that's A and C. Okay. So what we need to do is we need to eliminate x. So what do you want in this spot? If you have a positive 2x on the top and a positive 1x on the bottom, I want -2x. So that means I'm going to multiply by a -2 on the bottom, and I'm going to multiply that to every single item. Don't forget, it's 4 times now that you have to multiply it over, because I want a -2x. So I'm going to bring down the top equation, and then I'll multiply through. So the top one is, I'm just bringing this down. This one up here we need to bring down. Whoops, 4y. And then I'm going to multiply through on the bottom one for this one. -2x, -10y, positive 2z equals positive 6. Okay. Then I'm going to just double check, -2, -10, +2, +6, and then I'll check on the top, make sure I brought it down, and then we'll just go ahead and eliminate. 2x minus 2x would cancel to 0, which is good. That's what we wanted. And 4y minus 10y is -6y. 5 and 2 is 7z's. And 7 and 6 is 13. So what is this again? Pick 2, find new. Pick 2, find new. So we just did the find new for the second set of boxes on your notes. So write that in there. That's your new equation. So over here, your work should look like this. Mine's not going to fit because I can't write that small. And then I just got to write that down. If you can hold on for a minute. Okay. All set? All right, so we found a new, we found another new, and now we're going to go to this box right here on your notes. Can't write. There we go. So now we're going to move on. My next slide will show you this box where it shows new, new, eliminate. So now I'm going to move on. You can hit pause if you still need a moment. Okay. So now we're over in this box, new, new, eliminate. Now we're back to the math that you know how to do. So everything up to this point was new, brand new kind of math. You just learned everything. From here on out, you should know what to do because we've been practicing this for a couple weeks. Okay, so that's good. So you had on your news, we had, this is what your paper looks like. I'm just going to put it down. 13y minus 1z is -14, and your other new was -6y, 7z is 13. Now is where you're going to need a calculator, okay? So you're going to pick 2, find a new one, pick 2, find a new one. Now you're going to stack them, new, new, and we're going to eliminate. So let's stack these. So we're going to write these over there. So 13y minus 1z equals -14. And the other new equation we found was 6y, 7z equals 13. And now we're just back to where we were before, where we would eliminate and solve, right? So, trying to change colors, but it's not registering. Okay, so I think I'm going to go ahead and eliminate the z's, because if I want right here a -7z, and I can eliminate those z's. So I'm going to eliminate z's. If I want a -7 right here, all I have to multiply by is a 7. And then we will eliminate. So when you multiply that 7, you have to multiply to everything in the top row. And the numbers do get big here. I really, really need to change colors. So let me see. There we go. Okay, so let's multiply that through. Let me do 7 times 13 for you. Oops, come on, machine. I don't want to turn on. Okay, so 13 times 7 is 91. Okay, so here we go. Let's multiply that through. So 91y minus 7z, and then we need 14 times 7, negative 8, 2 is negative 98. There we go. So the calculator's not working. I have to do some scratch work. And then, so we multiplied through, and so now I'm just going to bring this one down underneath. Oops. Where'd it go? I'm too fast. Negative 6y plus 7z equals 13. And then we can eliminate, right? Because we went ahead and multiplied here. 7z minus 7z eliminates. 91 minus 6y is 85y equals negative 98, and 13 is negative 85. Move this out of the way. We divide through. Oops. Touchy thing. Divide through by 85. And we have our answer for y anyways. Negative 85 divided by 85 is a negative 1. So our first answer right here in this bottom box is going to be y equals negative 1. And the rest of the work is really easy. So you have made it through the hard stuff. The rest is easy. Even though I don't have a calculator I have to do my hand stuff. I don't know why it won't turn on. Okay, all caught up? All right, so make sure you put in your final answer box right here, y equals negative 1, right up here. Okay, so the rest of the little song goes, well, we started with pick 2, find new, pick 2, find new, and then we did this part, new, eliminate. Now we have to do go back, back. So we're going to go back, and then we're going to go back, all right? I'm going to move on. So your first answer was y equals negative 1. I'm just filling it in so you can follow along. And now we're going to do go back. Oops. Go back to get our second answer. So we have our first answer, y is negative 1. So now you're going to take y equals negative 1, and you're going to go back to either new. So remember, your news on your paper at home looks like this. You had 2 of them. And you can choose either one. You're going to go back, go to either of the news. I don't care. It doesn't matter. Pick one with smaller numbers. Pick one that you like better. And what we're going to do is we're going to plug it in just like we did before. So into any of those news. I'm going to choose, I think, this one. We'll choose this one. Doesn't matter. So I'll just choose this one because it's right underneath. And I really need a calculator here to make my math go faster for you. So we're going to plug in y equals negative 1 right there. So negative 6 times negative 1 plus 7z equals 13. And when we do this math, we will end up with our second answer. It'll be for z because that's the only letter that's left. Okay, negative 6 times negative 1 is positive 6. So I'm just showing my math here. And now to solve, I need to move that 6 over. So I need to subtract 6 to both sides, right? So 7z equals 13 minus 6 is 7. And so if you divide that through, you should already know z is 1. But anyways, divide it through. So z is equal to 1. So we got our second answer. So we got our first answer, that y was -1. Now we have our second answer, z is 1. We just have to find x and we're all done, okay? So we got our second answer here is z is equal to 1. Okay, so we have just this box, and then we can finally write down our final answer. So pick 2, find new, pick 2, find new, new, eliminate, go back, back. What does that mean? That's the next one. Go back. So you go back all the way to any one of those originals. So go back to any original to find the last answer. So remember, we already have that y is equal to -1. We have z is equal to +1. We're finding now the x, and then we'll be done. So what we're going to do is we're going to plug in the y and the z to any one of those originals. And personally, I would stay away from the equations that have the hidden ones. Go with either the top one or the middle one because they have coefficients 2, 4, 5, -3, -2, 2. Kids do better with those. When you have these hidden ones in here, this is where kids tend to make mistakes. So this is a part where you should choose where they have all the numbers really visible. So we'll just choose the top one. It's better anyways because it doesn't have any negatives there. It's just a little safer. So we'll just use the top one. It doesn't matter. You could pick any one you want. I was just trying to give you ideas about going for ones with visible letters, and positives is always better. All right, so the next common student mistake is putting in the numbers in the wrong spot. Remember, this is going to go right here for y, and this is going to go right there for z, okay? So be careful. So 2x comes down, so 4 times -1, because we're plugging this number in, plus 5 times, remember right here we're going to plug in a 1, equals 7. I'll just do the math. So 2x, 4 times -1 is -4, +5 equals 7. And now we just have to solve for 2x, right? Let me just change colors here. So you're going to pop this over and pop that number over. You can do it at the same time. So this would be to add 4 to both sides. So it's 7 plus 4. This would be to subtract 5. So you can just subtract 5 and now they're gone, right? So you can do it like that, so one at a time. So 2x will be equal to 7 plus 4 minus 5 is going to be 6. Okay? And then divide by 2. And guess what? You just finished your problem. X is equal to 3. So we found that answer right here. So your x is going to be equal to, as soon as it writes, 3. So we found all 3 of them. Okay? So you can take a minute and hit pause. All right, so when you write out your answers, it's in the order of x, comma, y, comma, z. So you write 3, comma, -1, comma, 1. And that will be your final answer. Okay? And that should show on the next screen. I went the wrong way. So I think it was a 3, comma, -1, comma, 1. And that's what our final answer is. That should be in this box. 3, -1, 1. Okay, you just did your first X, Y, and Z. This is called solving a system 3 by 3s because you have X, Y, and Z. All right, thank you. I'll see you tomorrow. We'll do one more practice and you're going to have to start this on your own, okay? Thanks, you guys. No homework for tonight.